He's not the only one on the field for this particular team. Look out for James Cook returning to practice for the Buffalo Bills because he got a deal done. With who? Ladies and gentlemen, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, friend of the program, Brandon Beane.
Hey. Nobody beats your intros, Pat. Nobody. I love it.
You're Oprah right now, brother. You get a car. You get a car. You get a car. You get a car. You get a new deal. $1.26 billion in deals this offseason. I want to let you know, thank you for rewarding your guys. In-house guys as well. How great did it feel to get James Cook's deal done? Because I learned on Hard Knocks that he was the first ever hold-in that you've had throughout your stint up there in Buffalo. But not just James Cook, this entire offseason. How does it feel to get all of this done with your pillars, basically?
No, it's been good. I mean, our ownership, the Pagulas are unbelievable, Pat. They just they love the motto, the mantra that we have, which is draft, develop, and re-sign our own. And there's you feel like a proud dad when you are able to see these guys be rewarded for their success, not only on the field. Obviously, that's why we drafted them and tried to help develop them, but just being pillars in the community. You were talking about it earlier. This is a blue collar town, just like Pittsburgh, and they love their Buffalo Bills, and so it's fun to see these guys be rewarded.
Let's talk about James Cook just a little bit. Did you guys have an understanding that a deal was always going to get done? So, like, TJ Watt in the Pittsburgh Steelers had a little thing going on, but every insider was like, a deal's going to get done, a deal's going to get done. James Cook doing the hold-in. Was it always just assumed from your end that a deal something was going to get worked out? Or, like, how did we get to the point where a deal actually gets done? Are you constantly working on a deal while he's there so it's not, like, completely uncomfortable? Like, take me to the situation here while the hold-in was happening and what was happening behind the scenes potentially.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would say Jimbo and I had a lot of dialogue through this process. You know, we tried to get something done in the spring when we were doing the other guys. It didn't work. We pushed pause and just said, we'll see if we can circle back later in the summer. So we started talks again once camp got started. And, he started practicing. Those guys, maybe they didn't feel like it was, where they wanted it to be, which, was unfortunate. But we wanted him to continue practicing, and so we kind of pushed pause until we were able to get him back on the practice field yesterday. And then once we did that, I give Zach Hiller and Kevin Meegank on my staff a lot of credit. They worked into the night last night to try and get this thing to the finish line, and we're excited it's here. So to answer your question, no, it was not known that this would get done. I wanted to see James get rewarded, but as you see, we've doled out a lot of cash this year, and we've got to make a lot of things fit with the cap and what those constraints are. And he obviously had to have a deal that he was happy about. And sometimes those can be hard and not fun. But James is such a great kid. He loves ball. He's competitive. And even though he wasn't in practice every day, he was very attentive in meetings and engaged with his teammates. So I do respect that part of it.
I love to hear that because that means at some point James Cook was told, hey, you could probably make more money if we continue and go somewhere else and do that. But with everything that's happening around us, this is a great situation. This is a deal that can happen. Anytime that both sides have to give a little bit, you probably didn't want to do it. That's whenever a strong deal can take place because it feels like both sides actually committed to each other, right? Doesn't it feel that way?
Yeah. No, I mean, most good deals, there's a little pain on both sides. You got to give a little, and you kind of, here's some things that we just can't move on. Here's some things that they have to have in the deal, and you kind of strike those off, and then you kind of find those things. All right, you give me this, I'll give you a little bit of that, and we just kind of start checking those off, and that's kind of where we got to by dinner time, and it got wrapped up about 11 o'clock last night.
That's awesome. Congratulations to all parties over there.